Hey, what's going on, everybody? David Jones here with Jason Mezrahi to talk about NFL DFS for the Wildcard weekend. Regular season is donezo, so we have to play some of these short slates, which I like the short slates quite a bit. You've got some big prizes up top. You can play the two-gamer today. You can play the, what is it, 6 games over the next 3 days. And then Monday on DraftKings, I was looking at that. They've got some millie makers up there. They've got a $4,444 millie maker on a showdown, and then they've got a $25 millie maker on Monday too. Someone's winning $1,000,000. Hopefully, it's someone watching this show. Jason, say what's up to everyone. How's the weekend, and how you feeling about the slate?
Yeah, man, I love that we made it to the playoffs, man. Appreciate everybody kind of tag along this entire season. Made it to the playoffs now. It's been, pretty much a good to great betting season, prop betting and, DFS and all that kind of good stuff. So we've had a good year so far. Playoffs, I like it. I don't know at this point which one of these slates I feel best about, where I want to invest most of my money, but that's my suggestion to everybody listening, watching. Lock it on one slate. David, obviously, he loves showdowns, so he's going to be attacking these showdowns. Myself, I like the short slates, so I'm probably going to either do just the Saturday slate, the two-gamer, and lock in, or maybe Saturday, Sunday, or maybe just a Sunday. Kind of want to figure it out. I think the Saturday-only slate looks to be the toughest right now. You only have two games, and you kind of want Lamar, you want Henry, and it's, some big price tags up there, so you're going to have to find a way around it. So we'll break down every game here. We'll break down the Saturday games, the Sunday games, Monday games, and kind of talk some strategy throughout. All of our prop bets are over on Win Daily Sports, and use the models, use the optimizer. And my big note is, manage your bankroll properly. You don't have to bet on every single game. Like, I really only like the Sunday game for betting, for props. So those are up on Win Daily, but you can take some shots here and there, but focus in on your favorite slate, your favorite bet, your favorite games. There'll be games next week, so don't stress it.
Yeah, honestly, if you're not good at bankroll management, you're probably not watching the show at this point in the season. You're probably not playing. You're probably done. You're probably looking for a second job. You got to be good at bankroll management, man, especially when it comes, it's the end of the season. So I don't know. Maybe you're just waiting for the paychecks to hit the account and just win it all back. I've been there. I've done that before.
Yeah, we've all done that.
I've been there before. Not there this season though. Yeah, I'm gonna be writing up the showdown slate tonight too, for what it's worth. Jay, you brought it up on the Sirius XM show last week about me winning some showdowns this season. I added it up. I'm at five showdown wins so far this season.
Nice.
So get a couple more in. Excuse me for a second. I have to mute. I have to cough. Say something.
Yeah, I'll say something. Every showdown win, David, adds to the Super Bowl budget. We should be going down to New Orleans in a couple of weeks on Radio Row. So if anybody's down there and wants to hang, we'll be down there. Hopefully, David won't be singing karaoke. I won't be singing karaoke with you, Dave, just so you know. But we'll be on bourbon. We'll be drinking. We'll have a good time, meeting up with some athletes, doing some shows. So probably down there the week prior to the Super Bowl, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if you're down there in the neighborhood, Sticks is scared to come. He never wants to leave Chicago. But, maybe he'll make it down there.
Yeah, I can't wait for that, man. All right, so let's get into this slate. So we're going to do it a little bit different since there's 3 slates we're essentially covering. We're going to kind of go game by game here so we can knock out this first slate today and then just expand it throughout the weekend. Hopefully, Jay, you can give us some of those props and ladders along the way. Hopefully we can find some stuff along the way. I haven't looked at too many props, so I like usually doing my research first, then, obviously as one would, and then you go and look at I would think, and then you go and look at the props, and sometimes they just jump out at you. So I'll try and do a little bit of that on this show. I had a good one the last couple of weeks. I've dropped a good one on here. So see if we can find another, see if we can find one for today, see if we can find one for the 4:30 game, which is what we're going to talk about first. The Los Angeles Chargers at the Houston Texans. Interesting game to me. I do think there's some valuable DFS pieces here. How do we want to do this? You want to just go
Let's go team by team. So I kind of go I would say go team by team. So on the Chargers, I think Herbert. Look, all these quarterbacks. Let's make it simple. All these quarterbacks are in play. Whether you're doing a showdown slate, doing a 2-gamer, the 5-gamer, the 6-gamer. We can't all get Lamar in every single game. or Josh Allen every, matchup. So a Herbert discount is in play. You have a little bit of a rushing floor there. You never know. He might sneak one in. He's been passing the ball more effectively these last couple of games. He's been pretty consistent. And this dude, Quinton Johnson, learned how to catch. So, that's actually helped Justin Herbert. Who would have thought that? So I think Herbert's in play in any slate you want to look at, especially the two-gamer. I prefer him over Stroud. Probably prefer him over Russ. He's the discount that I would like to go to. But, again, Stroud and Russ are still playable because you get an extra discount to kind of upgrade somebody else. Herbert in play. The best play of the entire, I would say, Saturday slate is Ladd. I think Ladd could be locked on a Saturday slate. He can be locked on a Saturday, Sunday slate. He can be locked on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday slate. He's fairly priced. He's a number one target. He gets receptions. He gets yardage. He gets everything you want in a DFS receiver. Consistency. As long as he doesn't get knocked out by a concussion or get hurt, dude's probably one of the best plays, price per dollar on the entire slate, in my opinion. He's the only guy on the Chargers I feel like I want to lock on the Saturday slate. I want to get shares on the Sunday slate and the Monday slate. Johnston in play at 4.8. You get a 2K discount on McConkey, so he's in play. I don't mind running both these guys out on the two-gamer as well. Dobbins, yes, no. I'm not in love with it. I don't hate it. Disley, there's other tight ends on the Saturday slate that I think are in a better spot. Mm-hmm. And with Hurst and Smart all kind of getting some targets, Schultz is right there, Freiermuth right there, and obviously Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. We'll talk about that in a second. But McConkey lock button for me on Saturday, and Johnson and Herbert playable on Saturday. I probably want to get to Herbert on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday slate. So I like some other quarterbacks. And Dobbins, I don't know if you got a strong take. I don't really have a strong take, one way or another. If Dobbins is a guy that I really want even on the Saturday slate, and I definitely don't want him on the extended Sunday and Monday slates.
Yeah, so as far as the Chargers go, I've got Herbert in my top 3 just overall on the weekend. I think I have him ranked 2 behind Josh Allen, so I like him a great deal. You mentioned Ladd McConkey. He's one of my favorite top 3 receivers, probably my favorite if we want to call him a mid-range price receiver. He's going to get those slot routes, which you want against Houston Texans. And I could be wrong here, but if I'm looking at how the corners of the Texans have been covering this season, and we do have Stingley playing for Houston, by the way, too, who should play on the outside. They don't have a traditional slot receiver that's going to be playing in the game. I mean, I don't think I'm wrong here. I'm just going off percentages of who's been covering the slot, the right and the left. So Stingley always stays on the outside. Every now, 2% of the time, he's moved into the slot. You've got Jeff Okudah, who's played the slot the most out of any active corner that I'm seeing right now, and he is by far the worst yards per route covered corner on the entire slate, by a wide margin. So, look, they don't usually put him in the slot, but I don't know who else is. Again, if I'm missing something, someone say something in chat. But if he's going to be covering the slot, then Ladd McConkey should absolutely eat. Now, that's going to hurt the outside guys like your Quinton Johnson, because he in turn should see a decent amount of Stingley, and Johnson's either good or really, really bad. Stingley's really, really good. So if Stingley's on Johnson for more routes than, let's say, DJ Chark, which he should be, although it's not going to be some kind of shadow situation, that's going to hurt Johnston. So Ladd McConkey should benefit the most there in the tight ends, pass catching backs out of the backfield. So you asked about J.K. Dobbins. I'm fine with Dobbins. I've got him ranked as a good mid-range running back. He is only, if you look at the full slate, he is 6,200 going up against Houston. I mean, he does have that questionable tag on him right now. They haven't actually said he's 100% in. I mean, but he's expected.
Gus Edwards is probably back too, and this guy Haskins getting a couple touches. It's a play that I'm not in love with. I don't hate it. He can obviously get in the end zone. We think the Chargers are going to win this game, so game flow should be in his favor. Texans kind of fallen off at the end of the year too, so he's in that zone of playable, but not in love with for me, Dave. That's where I'm at with him.
Well, have you seen a J.K. Dobbins update since I've been asleep?
Let me pull up. I'll look to see if there's anything up while. I'm assuming he's going. I can't see him not playing in this game, but playoffs. His props are still up. The props haven't really moved much. So I would safely assume he's in. The guys that are confirmed out, let's just get this out of the way, is Josh Palmer is confirmed out. Christian Watson for the Packers out. Zay Flowers out. Questionable. I don't know how serious this questionable is, but Dobbins and Quentin Johnston even are questionable. Kate Otten are questionable. John Mechie, questionable. And guys that are confirmed in after, maybe being out or just holding some questionable tags. Jalen Hurts in. Austin Eckler for the Commanders in. Amari Cooper, Romeo Doubs in. And then Justice Hill is a guy that we're going to have to talk about. Like, do we like him? Do we not like him? He's a salary saver on this 2-game slate at 4.5. He's back in as well. So no confirmed in or out on Dobbins or Quentin Johnston or Kate Otten, but I'm assuming they're all in for a playoff game.
Yeah,
whether they are actually effective and whether they can get full workload, that's the question that's remaining at this point for me.
Yes, he's still currently questionable. They're not listing the injury on ESPN for whatever reason. I don't know who's off here. I mean, I expect that he plays. We'll see. If you just look at the matchup against Houston, like, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, he's a guy that, he's an injury-prone dude. Hopefully he doesn't go out there and re-aggravate the injury. If he doesn't, Gus Edwards isn't the dude anymore. It's J.K. Dobbins in a must-win game. Like, you're not going to give Gus Edwards, half the rushing attempts if Dobbins is healthy. You're just not. Clearly, Dobbins is a better back. Now, on the big slate, I don't think you have to have him on the 2-gamer today. Pretty solid floor, in my opinion. Looking at Houston versus the run this year. Let me pull this up. Where is the Texans? Where's the Texans? A little bit better than I was giving them. A little bit better than I was giving them credit for.
Yeah, pretty good run D. The question comes the discount to get to Dobbins. Who are you upgrading if you're talking blocking, Henry and Mixon in that $1,000 discount to Dobbins? Who does it upgrade? It's an upgrade, a wide receiver, a tight end. You probably don't get a quarterback upgrade, I would assume. So that's a question, and then you have guys below him that we'll talk about in Warren and Harris, that Justice Hill, and even Dameon Pierce has looked effective at times too. So there's some guys that you can get a bigger discount on. So that's really the question for me. What's your thoughts on Houston? I think Houston is, for me, I'm not playing CJ Stroud. I really have zero interest in him. He's really struggled the entire year. I was expecting a big year after what we saw last year, but he's been, bad. He hasn't been good at all. Even when he had all 3 weapons, he wasn't good. Now that he only has Nico out there really in a dominant role, he hasn't been good at all. So I'm not playing any CJ Stroud. I'd rather go to Russell Wilson if I'm going to discount on a 2-gamer, or obviously I'll feel a lot more comfortable going to Herbert or Lamar Jackson. Now the question for me comes into Mixon and Collins. You have all the volume in the world, but you're paying a hefty price tag and you're going against a good defense. So those are the two, on this Saturday slate. I'm not going to play Mixon on the Sunday slate because you got guys like Bucky Irving and some better spots that we'll talk about. But Saturday only, Dave, how much Mixon and Collins, if you're building one lineup here, is Mixon or Collins a guy that you want to jam in, or do you feel comfortable fading one or both these guys?
I would, on the 2-gamer, I'd probably force at least one. I mean, look, it's Nico Collins. He's one of the best wide receivers in the league. Definitely the best wide receiver on the slate, the Saturday slate. And he's going to get all the volume. Now, the Chargers are pretty good at defending the pass, but, John Mechie, who's going to be, lining up next to him, he's a good little wide receiver, but the Chargers are good at defending wide receivers. I don't see Mechie getting just a ton of volume unless they're playing catch up, which I guess they could be and maybe likely would be. Then you've got Xavier Hutchinson running some routes, whatever, just not a dude that you can count on. We know that Nico Collins with his 28.1 target share is the highest on the slate and one of the highest in the leagues, and he's going to be getting the ball. So if I have to choose a dude, it's going to be Nico Collins, but that doesn't mean fade Mixon. You can play Mixon and Collins on the same team without the quarterback, and I'm not playing Stroud on the 2-gamer or any slate for that matter. And those are going to be your dudes. Now, if you're taking, you have to pick some weird guys, on this little 2-game slate. Like if you want to go Schultz, there's nothing that leads me there, but like he should get a few balls. Mechie, Woods, Xavier Hutchinson, there's nothing that leads me there based on matchups or even target share alone. And Mechie's still questionable. So those are just guys you kind of sprinkle in. I can't make a case for any of them. So Mixon, Collins, love them both. That's it.
So I just want to get your take, like if you're picking one of the two, you'll lean Collins over Mixon and you're okay. Not because you have to factor in like who you're dropping off from at the wide receiver position, who you drop off at the running back. So you prefer Nico over Mixon?
I guess
it's tough
so.
For me. That's on the 2-gamer, like the tough question that I got.
No, I mean, yeah, I guess so. If I have to, you aim a gun right in the center of my face, I'll choose Collins. But like, because I'd rather have Henry than Mixon, so I can get Henry over Mixon. Fine.
Assuming you're locking Henry, like assume you're lock Henry,
yeah,
you lock Ladd,
Collins,
and now you're deciding if you want a Houston share. Do you go to Collins or Mixon? If you go to Collins. Then it's Collins for you. Okay.
Yeah, Collins. That's who I would go with there. I love Mixon too, like I said, but yeah, if I've got to choose one, because I'm choosing Collins. Because I'm not that high. I mean, what I guess takes us into the next game. I'm not that high on Lamar. Like I don't see it. I don't really understand why people would be high on Lamar today, or maybe today for the 2-gamer, but not for the main slate, like by any means. Like Pittsburgh has this dude's number. His best game he's ever had against Pittsburgh fantasy game was the last time they played. It was like 21 fantasy points. And now he's down his best wide receiver. Like someone's going to have to explain that to me, why people would be on Lamar Jackson, because I'm not.
It's on a 2-gamer. So on a 4-gamer, we'll talk about it. I want to play all the Jaden Daniels, versus Tampa Bay. You saw my prop bets earlier this week. We'll talk about Daniels and some other quarterbacks as well. But like on the 2-gamer, you're getting a floor. Whether that floor is good or great, I don't really know at this point. Does he rush him for a touchdown? Then it becomes great. If he doesn't, it's a low-scoring game. You can still get there without Lamar by just going out there and getting his cheap receivers and Derrick Henry and hope that the touchdowns, go through Henry. And maybe one goes through, through the air. Lamar, this is just a random fact, but Lamar also edged ahead, betting lines for MVP, just throwing it out there. He pushed ahead of Josh Allen now, which I was, somewhat surprised by, but the numbers don't lie. The numbers are fucking great, so I get it. The discount to go to Herbert, it's a 2K discount. It allows you to upgrade a lot of different positions. So, Henry for me on the 2-gamer is a lock.
Yep.
Rashad Bateman is pretty damn close to a lock. He stepped up in this role before. He stepped up, last game. He's catching touchdowns. He was on the optimal, last week. Whatever, it doesn't really make a difference. But I like him. 5K. I prefer him over like Quentin Johnston, even though Johnston could have a potential good game here. He should be the number 1 target. Without playing, like Baltimore's still the offense that I'll have the most shares of in a 2-gamer. So I'm lock button Henry, pretty much locking McConkey and Bateman. And then I'm making a decision on Andrews, likely Aguilar, probably throwing in 1 or maybe even 2 of those players on top. And that's how I'll get my Lamar Jackson exposure by not going to Lamar Jackson. If Lamar runs 1 or 2 in and runs for 55, 60 yards, I'm not sure if Herbert catches him, but Herbert or even Russell Wilson could still get there by upgrading all your other spots. So, like, Baltimore side, that's who I like. On the Pittsburgh side, forget George Pickens. Like, dude's pretty much a bum, but he can get there on a 2-game slate. Like, he dropped all those passes. I loved it because I fully faded him last week. The matchup's not bad for him. He had a good to great game against Baltimore in Week 11. 8 catches for 89 yards. So I wouldn't fully fade him, especially on a 2-gamer, but I'm not in love with anybody on Pittsburgh outside of nobody. Like, I'm not in love with anybody, but you're going to have to play some of these guys. So Warren, Warren in a good spot. Najee can fall in the end zone. Mike Williams, if he gets some more touches, can get there. Frymuth, he's playable. I don't got a great read on Pittsburgh, though, because it's spread out a lot. I love Baltimore's defense, but they're so damn expensive, it really hurts. So, I don't know, man. I have a great read on Pittsburgh. Do you have a strong feel on the Pittsburgh side?
Not particularly. I've got on Baltimore, I think I've got a little bit of a stronger take. I mean, you can throw it deep on Baltimore. You've been able to throw on Baltimore the entire season. You just can't run on Baltimore as easily. So in that vein, like Pittsburgh dudes make sense. I mean, I know George Pickens is very, very hit or miss. But you said it, he had a good game against them earlier in the season. And, it's like he had a terrible game last week. That doesn't mean it's always going to be the case, right? I'm not really making a case for Pickens. Like I didn't write him up, but like someone's going to do it. If you look at like where Pickens is going to line up, it's all over the field, more so on the left side of the field. He's got by far the highest target percentage on the Steelers, 24.3%. Next highest is going to be Calvin Austin with 16. And who's going to be covering the left side of the field? Nate Wiggins. So he's going to see more Wiggins, who's, by the number, second best coverage corner, behind Marlon Humphrey. Marlon Humphrey's going to cover the slot and the left. So the combination of Humphrey and Wiggins against Pickens isn't great, but you can throw on Baltimore. So if I'm choosing a guy that I think can get open here, let's go take a look who's going to be on the right side. Right side of the field the most. That's going to be Van Jefferson, unfortunately. Let's see. Let's take a look at Van here. Van Jefferson, 3,200. Goodness gracious. The targets are not there. He got 4 last week against Cincinnati. Fine. Like has not broken a slate the entire season. But if I'm looking at primary matchups, which is what I do, he's got the best primary matchup for the Steelers. Is he as fast as Calvin Austin? No. Is he as good as George Pickens? No. But he's got the best matchup. Now, Calvin Austin at 4,000, his targets aren't like something you can, count on either. Like I would think he would make the big play, Calvin Austin or George Pickens, and they've both been better, but like it's not really that great of a matchup for him. Austin's going to be on the right side of the field about 18% of the time, runs out the slot against Marlon Humphrey the most, and then Nate Wiggins for the rest of the snap. So Van Jefferson, take a flyer on a 2-gamer if you want.
What do you do with the backfield here for, Warren and Najee Harris? Are you taking any pieces of them too if you're building on a 2-game slate? Thoughts on Justice Hill coming back? Is he a deep punt if you want to just punt running back? Any feel on these 3 running backs, Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, and Justice Hill?
I mean, I don't love them. It's 2 Warren and Harris are 2, let's call them starting running backs on a 2-game slate. So yeah, you'd assume someone can do something to make an optimal, but you're not playing him over, Henry. You're not playing him over Mixon. Can you hear my dogs absolutely going nuts downstairs?
Heard a couple barks, but nothing that's going to ruin the show or anything like that. You'll be all right.
Someone might be at my front door. I'm going to have to go look in a second. But so I'm not like super high on him. As far as Justice Hill goes, like this is a guy that's incorporated in this offense. And I can even see where Zay Flowers being out helps Justice Hill. At 4,500, like he's a dude that can certainly go out there and catch a few balls. Like, no doubt, he's going to get a few rushing attempts. Henry's going to go and play 2 or 3 series in a row, and then they're going to let Justice Hill do it. So that's a pretty sneaky play, honestly, at 4,500. I'm trying to pull up how Pittsburgh is against pass-catching backs, which I assume they're decent. And I can't imagine that season stats are going to really matter that much.
What I think it comes down for Justice Hill more than the matchup, it comes down to, like, does Baltimore have the ball with 2 minutes left in the first half where it's like, hurry up, Derrick Henry on the bench, and Justice Hill gets like a full rotation of a couple dump downs and like some extra time on the field? And then does he also get, by any chance, is he playing from behind at all where maybe they got to pass a little bit more? Does Justice Hill go out there? Like it's kind of game flow-ish, like you get that lucky second quarter drive with Justice Hill where he catches 3 balls, or do you get that lucky screen that he takes to the house and he scores a touchdown on? Then he becomes in the optimal, I feel like, at 4,500. Keaton Mitchell played a little bit too, so like that might have some concern, but I do think it's Justice Hill's backfield in pass catching downs.
It is.
Last question I'll ask you on this 2-game slate, because I'm building a lineup here. I kind of got sold on Pickens a little bit if there's a way to get there. Now, defense-wise, like you can't get the Ravens with Lamar and Derrick Henry and Nico and Ladd and all the guys you want. How do you feel about just punting? Like, let me ask this: what would you rather punt? Your RB2?
You're asking me if the Steelers. You're asking me if you should play the Steelers.
No, it's more like that plus a strategy. Would you rather punt RB2? Would you rather punt your flex, or would you rather punt your defense? Typically, what I found, back testing, double tight end usually is the way to go on these shorter slates, these 2-gamers and these 3-gamers. Like if you saw the 3-gamer last week, it was Freiermuth, double tight end with Jordan Atkins. Like that was the optimal. On this Saturday slate, I think it could be some combination of Andrews, likely, Dalton Schultz, maybe Freiermuth, not really counting the Chargers guys, but they can get in there. Like, so what would you rather punt? RB2, your flex spot down to like a minimum salary guy of $3K, punting quarterback to Russ or CJ Stroud, or I'll even throw Herbert in, or punting your defense and going with the Steelers when you're going to most likely have 3 or 4 Baltimore guys in?
Well, it's kind of an impossible question for me to answer without looking at the entire lineup of what we're doing. I mean, defense is a punt anyways. On a 2-game, wild card series playoff game, it's, one of these teams, Ravens, Chargers, Texans, Steelers, is just going to have to, get a few sacks, get a turnover, take one to the house, or if nobody, gets a defensive score and nobody gets absolutely blown out, then it probably is the Steelers being the best value at 2,200 compared to the Ravens at 3,700. I mean,
one thing I'll say though, because I was looking it up, Baltimore is going to sack Russell Wilson like 4 times because Russ just like stands there like this and he's going to get sacked. So like they got the safest floor by far. Like they're definitely going to get 6 to 7 points. Chargers too, but the sacks with Russ are like almost guaranteed. Like he's gonna get sacked like 4 times. Yeah. Like if there was an over/under on Russell Wilson sacks, like somebody post it, I'll definitely bet it. It's going to be over 3 or 4. Like he just sits there like a statue in the pocket. Like maybe in the playoffs he'll run a little bit more, but I don't know. That's my only concern. Like if you're trying to build optimal single entry, maybe you wanted to just drop down from quarterback, drop your RB2 to either Warren, Harris, or Justice Hill, and then slide over, and upgrade your defense. But it's a tough slate on this 2-gamer, so it's not an easy answer.
Yeah, there's not an easy way for me to answer it aside from like typically it's your flex that's going to be your best punt, right? I think that you found a good play in Justice Hill as an RB punt at 4,500, which I had kind of overlooked. I think again with Zay Flowers being out, it could help Justice Hill. And he's a guy like he's going to play no matter what. Like he's a part of the offense for sure. But you look at like how many punt wide receivers you have on the slate, and it's actually quite a bit. I mean, we didn't even talk about the Baltimore wide receivers hardly at all. Who's going to step in there? Is it Nelson Aguilar? Probably not. He's no good, but it could happen. Is it Tylan Wallace, who is a guy that can hit an absolute home run, $3,100? It could be him as well. The Houston guys, like there's a lot of punts on the slate. So I would assume that a punt flex is going to, to answer your question. Now, the one point I wanted to get out about Baltimore that kind of got, I kind of skipped over here is I'm playing Andrews or Likely on every team. Like you can guarantee that on
a Saturday only. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. On a Saturday only, you're talking, right?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's true. That's definitely happening. But you can consider it too for the main one. Even like because they're in both of my top 4, and you just hope like Charlie Kohler doesn't go out there and
no Kohler, bro. Don't worry about Kohler. No, I like that call. Like every lineup I built so far for the Saturday it's either Andrews or Likely. I don't mind Dalton Schultz at 3,600. Kind of feels trappish, but like I never get Schultz right. Like when I don't play him, he has a big game. When I do play him, he kind of duds out. I definitely feel more confident. Like my tight end one spot, if I'm not throwing a tight end in the flex, is either Likely or Andrews. There's a massive discount to go to Likely. And when Baltimore is kind of battered or not playing with their top weapons, I feel like he definitely gets a lot more looks. But Andrews catching touchdowns too. So it's like he gets like these easy touchdowns and these easy like screen passes, and Andrews gets like these tough over the head, one-handed catches that he comes down with. He's still the more talented guy, I think. So I want them both, and I completely agree. The Saturday slate of stuff, it's not the easiest thing to build. You're not going to feel comfortable building. You're going to have to either punt a defense, punt a quarterback, punt an RB2. My suggestion is your flex should definitely be a 3K guy, whether it's a tight end or taking a shot like David just said, Aguilar, Tylan Wallace. Those two guys I'd feel the most comfortable with. But
Van Jefferson
and Mike Williams. Like if Mike Williams just found himself on the field more, maybe Tomlin's like kind of sick of George Pickens and maybe gives Mike Williams a couple more shots here. Like he catches balls, but he's barely on the field. So that's the only concern there. But let's slide to Sunday because we can talk about the Saturday slate forever.
One more point.
Go.
Yeah, someone's asking about is there any are we worried about Joey Porter Jr. being on Bateman? I am worried about that. I mean, so when you lose Zay Flowers, now Rashad Bateman's like the clear number one because they know it's not Nelson Aguilar. They know it's not Tylan Wallace. And the Steelers, again, who have played Lamar Jackson's pass game very well in the past, know all you really have to do is stop Rashad Bateman because Nelson Aguilar is going to stop himself. So Joey Porter Jr., is going to be on Bateman a lot of the time, not a shadow situation. But then when Bateman slides into the slot, which he doesn't do much, Cam Sutton's awesome. And then Deontay Jackson's also very good too. So, yeah, I'm more worried about Bateman on that front of losing Zay, which I think opens it up more for the tight ends and Justice Hill out of the backfield. And Derrick Henry can also catch passes. But we do need to move on to the Sunday slate. Denver at Buffalo, this game, and we have to do this quicker because we're already 36 minutes in. Denver and Denver and Buffalo. Buffalo's got one of my favorite plays on the slate. Now, I love Josh Allen. I know Denver is a good, a good defense, whatever, but Josh Allen is awesome. So I have Josh Allen ranked overall number one. One of my favorite.
Ooh, okay.
What? Yeah.
No,
it's Josh Allen.
It's a little surprise.
The Josh
I know
Allen
who your favorite receiver is because I saw your avatar. I had to click on your avatar on Discord. So you always switch up the Discord avatar. So I know who your favorite receiver is, but a little surprised on Josh Allen, man. Do you think it's going to be a close game, high scoring game?
I think Josh Allen's got the highest floor and ceiling of any quarterback on the slate. That doesn't mean necessarily that I'm starting every team with Josh Allen. Like I'm fine with taking a pass catcher or two from him and letting it play out that way. But yeah, dude, Josh Allen, Bills in the first game of the playoffs here. Like I know Denver's great at defense, but I don't care. Again, that doesn't mean I'm like saying main lineup Josh Allen. I've got him ranked overall number one, but it's a tough build today. Khalil Shakir is who I'm trying to get to. I love Khalil Shakir. He runs out of the slot, meaning he's going to avoid Pat Surtain, which is something that you certainly want to do if you're a Buffalo Bills guy. Surtain's going to be on, whoever's on the outside at that point in time, whether it's Hollins, Coleman, Amari Cooper. Surtain's body down. Shakir, who's been the best wide receiver for Josh Allen all season, has the best spot running out of the slot. He is one of the better wide receiver plays on the slate. He's my guy.
Yeah, so sliding to Sunday only, Josh Allen will be, right there, top 1, 2, or 3 quarterback I have exposure to. I'd probably play him naked, to be honest with you, or play him with Shakir. I wouldn't trust anybody else outside of Shakir. Mac Hollins gets reps, Keon Coleman emerge, Amari Cooper. You never know when it's going to be his day. Could it be? You have Kincaid there. You have James Cook catching passes. So Allen, a great play. On the Denver side, not interested in a running game. Not really interested in Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims, even though they made us a ton of money, whether we're playing them in DFS or in the betting markets. Buffalo Bills defense pretty good. Broncos projected to score less than 20. So on the Sunday slate, not in love with any of these guys, especially they're priced up now. Marvin Mims is no longer a 3K guy. Your guy Vele, who he kept on hitting with props and touchdowns and all that kind of good stuff, he's priced up now a little bit to 4.1. Tough matchup against Buffalo. So for me, it's more so Allen naked. Shakir shares at 5.3. Very fair. Buffalo defense in play. Bo Nix is not out of play. Like he's been playing lights out. He can run. He's going to be playing from behind. So I don't mind a Bo Nix play. But I probably don't pair him up with Sutton or Mims. This price is tough to get there for me with those guys. Let's try to speed it up a little bit. Packers, Eagles.
I gotta say something. I gotta say something. With Denver, Cortland Sutton priced at 6,600, wide receiver 1 in a game they're probably trailing. Like I'm good with that. And Devon Vele has the better matchup than Marvin Mims running out of the slot, but lower volume there. As far as the running backs go for Denver, I guess McLaughlin's the dude now, and he's the better pass catching back, and they could be trailing. And so if you want to take a shot at McLaughlin, 4,900, because you've been striking out all season on the dude and you want all your money back, then you can go ahead and do that. Green Bay and the Eagles. Seems like you were about to say something about this matchup.
Eagles defense became elite. So for the Packers side of things, like I can see them hanging this game. I can see them potentially win this game, but I think it's going to be ground and pound and good defense on both sides of the ball here. So like it's not a game that I'm like super excited to go out there. Like Jaden Reed's so inconsistent. Dobbs and Wicks, inconsistent. Tucker Kraft, probably like a guy that I kind of like, but there's better tight ends depending on what slate you're looking at. And we'll be asking more like specific questions in Discord. We just can't be on here forever. So I'm off the Packers pretty much in all my builds. Saturday, Sunday alone. I don't mind Josh Jacobs, but like for $800 more, you get Saquon Barkley. So it's a very easy decision for me. Eagles side more interesting. Like you said, I prefer Allen over Hurts. I prefer Jaden Daniels over Hurts. Can Hurts get there? Can he just push himself to 2 touchdowns? For sure. Does he have all the weapons? For sure. But Green Bay's defense is pretty good too. So like this game could be tighter. Saquon Barkley is the best play of this game. I think Philly's defense in play. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are fairly priced, like 7,500, 5,700. So I don't mind those two guys. But like the next game is the game that I want the most shares of for the Sunday slate, and even like the Saturday, Sunday, or Sunday, Monday slate. So like that's the game I'm going to be targeting more for offense. But Barkley, like he's going to be a tough fade for me. I want to get to Barkley if possible.
Barkley or Derrick Henry?
If you're playing, it's
Full
more
slate.
like lineup full slate.
Yeah.
Probably Derrick Henry, just because you might lose some touchdown equity from Saquon if the tush push happens. It's very close. Like the prop market, I can pull that up in a second, but like prop market says it's going to be just as close as I'm thinking. You got Saquon at 102, Derrick Henry at 99, where I do think, Saquon probably has more pass catching ability, but the touchdown equity for Derrick Henry just puts him in a better spot for me, game script, all that kind of stuff too. So slight lean, but like I love Barkley's game more. Like Henry to score is 175, Barkley's 163, so it's not that far off. So it's like, choose your guy, maybe get equal shares. They're both.
I know
they're identical for different reasons.
Yeah, it's
like I don't think you lose with one over the other. I think they're going to be right there, but it's going to break for one of them better than the other one, obviously.
I guess, or like you just play them both and hope some of these cheaper wide receivers because that's tough. Like I was going back and forth on that too. I don't really know.
I'll say this price per dollar. I'd rather have Bucky Irving than both of them. I don't know if that
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't? Like Bucky. So for me in this next game, like I want the passing attack for Washington, and I want Bucky. Like he's everything for. Like I'm not saying he's everything for this team because Baker's playing well, and Mike Evans playing well, and McMillan's getting involved. But Bucky's like he's game script proof. Like he's catching passes, he's out there closing games, he's getting the first down touches, he's getting the goal line touches. Like they're just feeding this dude the ball from every angles, and he's like you're getting that discount at 7K, which allows you to upgrade something else. Like perfect combination for me. I think in my current Saturday, Sunday build, it's Barkley. I think I went against what I just told you. I went Bucky and Barkley with Jaden Daniels and McLaurin and Shakir. And, I had to get some value in there. But I think Daniels is my number one quarterback on the entire slate just because just targeting Baltimore. I mean, the Bucs secondary. It's like it's almost a guarantee. And I asked a couple sharp people that I trust, where they think this game lands. They do think Tampa Bay is the favorite, for a reason. They stand behind those 3 points that Vegas put on Tampa. So if Washington's playing from behind, Jaden Daniels is going to be running and throwing first playoff game. I got him as the best price per dollar guy. And I think at the running back position, Bucky's the safest guy at 7K over that extra – that $1,500 that you save on like Henry or Barkley, that means an upgrade from like, some 5K wide receiver. It's a Lab McConkey. I'll take that. If it leads to an upgrade, anywhere in my lineup, I'm going to take a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. I like to get a situation where I can get like a McLaurin. Now, if you throw it in the Monday slate, like I want Puka in that as well, but that's when it gets even tougher. So Bucky provides that discount off like the Henry and the Barclays.
All right. So where do I pick up here? So I was going to mention that in the last game, as far as there's not a lot of plays, Eagles, Green Bay, but I like Devontae Smith the most out of all those wide receivers and all those plays aside from Saquon Barkley. He's priced down.
Agreed.
AJ Brown's beat up. I like Devontae Smith. Over on the Tampa Bay, Washington side, so we do have Lattimore back for Washington, who's going to clearly be on Mike Evans, and that's always a fun watch. But it's
like funny how the universe works. Like, how did that even happen? For like that trade to go down and then facing in the first round is just like perfect football. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. But that opens it up for our dude, Jalen McMillan, yet again. He scores every game once or twice now. On paper, is going to have clearly the best matchup. I mean, not that he's going up against some scrubs, but as the wide receiver 2 going up against Washington with Marshawn Lattimore back, opens it wide open for him. Baker isn't going to force feed Mike Evans, but he's still going to throw it to the dude. But Jalen McMillan's going to get his no matter what. So he's one of the better wide receivers on the slate, in my opinion, the full slate. Jalen McMillan. I love him. Bucky Irving, I mean, you make a good point for. He's a good player, no doubt about it. If you don't land on him and end up on like a Rachaad White, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world as a punt. Like I've got 2 punt running backs in this game for the slate, which are Austin Eckler and Rachaad White. I would prefer Eckler, but White's like if you're building 20 lineups, maybe throw him in one kind of guy. I mean, but you're right. Bucky Irving, he's going to get the touches. He's been incorporated more. White's been in the doghouse. But let's say Washington can take out Mike. They can't. So I shouldn't say that, but limit Mike Evans to some extent. Those passes used to go to White, but now they might be going to Bucky. So, I mean, good point. It should also open it up for Payne a little bit more. But if Otten's back, let's see. Is Otten expected back? 4,100?
Otten's expected back. The prop market has him up with props. So, like, you can't go to that dude who's been paying off, like, pretty nicely the entire last 3 weeks. But, like, I think McMillan and DraftKings did, it made it harder for us. Like, if McMillan was 4K, I think he'd be, like, close to a lock button. 5K, he's pretty close to a lock button as well, though. Like, I do think it's going to be tougher to throw on Lattimore. And I do think, like, not that they're going to get tossed out of the game, but, like, half of what Mike Evans is going to try to do is beat up Lattimore, like, and just, like, get into it where maybe less routes run. Like, it's just going to – and Lattimore's going to try to do the same thing. Like, he's going to try to get in his head and try to, like – he's going to try his best just to mess with him, and penalties might happen, but penalties don't lead to fantasy points, So, like, Evans at 7.9, like, I can't get there. I really can't. Can he get the volume and score touchdowns? Yeah, but, like, I'll be okay. I don't think he puts up, like, Barkley or Henry numbers.
No, I mean, and, like, I factor this in quite a bit, too. Let's say, like, Mike Evans is wide-ass open. running he's the ball's headed his way. He's 40 yards down the field. Lattimore is, a foot behind him. What?
Like truck stick him. He's going to do whatever he can, like hurt him or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's just not going to let, like, if the options in your Lattimore are let Mike Evans catch a deep pass or pass interference, you're going to take pass interference, give him the yardage anyway. So like that's going to knock off, 40, 50 yards and a reception off Evans. And, the ball's going to be in the same place, but you're not getting the fantasy points just because Lattimore will just PI. I mean, and officials are going to be all over that.
Zacchaeus 4.4 is very much in play for me too, like depending on what slate obviously you're building for. But I love him in the prop market. I love Terry in the prop market. I love Ertz in the prop market. I think Ertz is probably your safest tight end on the Sunday only slate, even Sunday, Monday slate, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The only person like I feel safer or better about than Zach Ertz is Mark Andrews, or likely for the discount. But Ertz is like they're playing from behind. He's kind of, even though he's not fast or a wide receiver, like he's getting targeted like a wide receiver. So I think Ertz and Zacchaeus, love them both. And I love Terry, man. Like Terry again in that wide receiver 1, best matchup on the board or close to it, 6.5. Like if I'm building a Saturday, Sunday slate, like I would assume the first 2 buttons I probably click is Ladd McConkey, a wide receiver, and then one of, Terry McLaurin or Zacchaeus, depending on the rest of my lineup build. Like everything says pass against Tampa, playing from behind, good weather. It's going to be 55, 60 degrees out there where a lot of these other games are in the cold weather. Not that that factors too much in, but it might factor a little bit in. So McConkey and Terry or Zacchaeus are like prime spots, and you have that perfect game stack where you just run it back with Bucky. If you want to get more shares, I don't even mind going 2 wide receivers, going like Daniels with McLaurin, Zacchaeus, or Zacchaeus and Ertz, and then running it back with Bucky and Jalen, and this game stacking in this game. I think this is a game that goes the highest out of all the games. This is a game I think is the closest. Like I can obviously see the Commanders winning. I can't really see the Bills winning. I can't really see the Steelers winning if Baltimore plays their better game. I think the Chargers win. This game can go back and forth, 4 quarters. Like Tampa Bay, they just got lit up by Rattler and the Saints. Like the Saints could have won that game, and they were playing for their lives, and they almost lost that game to the Saints and Rattler. Like, what is the offensive rookie of the year, like almost MVP, can do to this team? Like he put up 36 against Philly. He put up, big games all year against very tough teams. Like this is probably he played Tampa in his, I think, the first game of the year, like rookie. He runs for 88. He drops 28. Doesn't have his best passing game, but like that was very early in the season. What to expect from a rookie coming in. You look at his last 2 games, 35 and 36, 23, 28, 32, and this is the best matchup. So, like, Jaden Daniels for me is by far the safest quarterback on the slate. I don't think anybody kind of competes with him at all Saturday, Sunday. I think on a Sunday slate, obviously Josh Allen's good. Josh Allen probably has as high as upside, if not higher, but, like, the discount that you get for Jaden is just enormous for me, man.
Yeah, I like Jaden Daniels too. He's in my top 3, no doubt about it. 7,500 makes a lot of sense going up against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay defense is healthier these days, but they're still one of the worst pass defenses on the slate, if not they're not the worst. I think Baltimore was worse. I think the Vikings were worse, which we'll talk about briefly in a second here. You brought up the wide receivers. Yeah, McLaurin, Zacchaeus, Brown, I guess, but McLaurin's one of my top 3 wide receivers. I want to get him in. As far as the coverage scheme goes for him, it is positive in his direction. His target percentage on the team is actually like right there with Zacchaeus, which was interesting.
Right.
He's got, with 21%. Zacchaeus has a 20%, and both of those dudes. Let me look. Zacchaeus is going to get most of the slot routes. It's fine. You're going to have. McLaurin going left, right, a little bit of more on the left side of the field, honestly. So more on the left side of the field is going to put him more on McCollum, who's fine to target too, with the target share one would expect for McLaurin. So yeah, I like him a lot. Zacchaeus is good too. I feel like I'm being rushed here now. We've got 7 minutes. Ertz is in my top 4 tight ends on the slate. My top 4 tight ends go TJ, Zach Ertz, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. Those are my top
Hockenson,
4
really,
guys.
huh?
Yeah, Hawkinson's
I hate
my number
watching that
1.
dude play, man. I hate watching that dude play. Like I watched him in that Gibbs game where Gibbs goes off for 3 touchdowns. Like it's like almost trying to like draw PIs more than catch the ball aggressively. But it's a good matchup. You know, this game, the Monday game is the island game where I think personally I don't think you play Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I think you should play the Saturday only and then the Saturday, Sunday. And then when you wake up tomorrow, either won money or you lost money. You're going to be playing the Sunday only as well. I think Monday, to save it for showdown. I'm not saying don't play Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but like where I'm going to be playing is Saturday, Sunday, and then I'll play showdowns on Monday. So I would build this more for showdowns. But if you're throwing it in, Puka, very good at football, clear number 1. Cooper Kupp, step back. Justin Jefferson, really good at football as well. I don't know who the hell wins this game, really, because Stafford's the more proven playoff guy, proven career guy. Darnold, what happens? You know, they brought a ton of pressure against him. He was flustered last game, cost them the bye. Detroit's very good. They're probably Super Bowl favorites in my opinion right now. And the Rams will bring pressure to Sam Darnold again. So Aaron Jones, good value if you play like the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, $6K for a guy that's getting most of the touches. Cam Akers, kind of sneaky. I'm shocked. Like I watched that Detroit game. Dude does not look at Jordan Addison. Like you nailed the Jordan Addison game. I don't know how you figured it out like throughout the season. Like I'm playing Addison. But like when I watched Minnesota, it's like, dude, just stop throwing the ball at Hockenson. He can't catch shit. And like Addison is like wide open most of the time. It's like, why are you throwing this dude the ball? Just I don't know. Sam Darnold's like looking at Jefferson first. Then he goes to Hockenson. Then he like dumps off to Aaron Jones. But you figured out the Addison stuff. Obviously, in showdowns, Addison firmly in play, but I can't get there like on the entire slate. Justin Jefferson, Puka, and the running backs are the only 4 guys I'd want like in the 4-day or whatever, the 3-day slate. Jefferson, Puka, and then in showdowns, we know all these guys are playable. David's going to write an article. He's going to win his share of $1 million on Monday. So like you could talk showdowns, and you'll build a showdown, kind of research and Discord and all that kind of stuff. Like this game is not much to talk about in my opinion, but like obviously there's plays in this game.
All right. Yeah, we're going to go over a few minutes here, I think. So as far as like the Minnesota guys go, you don't have to be talking to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, you got me digging into him a little bit more. The matchup for him is going to be pretty positive. He's just playing on the outside, which is where you want to target the Rams if you're being nitpicky, right? You can throw in the slot against them, but outside's where you want to be targeting. So that's going to be a lot of Jefferson, a lot of Addison. So both of those dudes should be open a significant amount of the time. Now, TJ Hockenson didn't play last time these two teams met up, but if I'm looking at the overall number 1 matchup for a tight end on the slate, it is going to be going up against the Rams. And that is TJ Hockenson, who's super cheap too. So Hawkinson's $4,200. I'm sorry, I think I'm getting sick. So Hawkinson's $4,200, and he's my number 1 tight end on the slate. So that's where I'm going to be landing. Now, again, I want a lot of the Baltimore tight ends. I like Zach Ertz to a certain extent. They're my top 4, but if I have to rank them, I'll give Hockenson number 1. On the Ram side of the ball, Puka is Puka. You can play Puka. You're not going to be upset that you played Puka. He could easily go out and get the most targets in the entire slate. Now, if I want to look at Cooper Kupp, which I do, I know he's been poor for Cooper Kupp standards the past couple of games. Well, this is the playoffs. Cooper Kupp is still going to be targeted at a very high rate, still 29% target percentage compared to Puka's 36. He is going to be running in the slot for the majority of his routes against the Vikings. The Vikings are bad against the slot. It's going to primarily be covered by Byron Murphy Jr. That is where where Cooper Kupp can have a good game. Cooper Kupp's salary over on DraftKings is
6.4.
6.4 for Cooper Kupp in a playoff game, going up against a defense that gives us that gives up a ton of fantasy points, one of the worst fantasy points to receivers, passing games. Sorry, I can't get it out. So I like Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's fine. The running backs, Kyron Williams, not particularly a great spot. Jones, probably a better spot than Kyron Williams if you just look at the matchup. So that's how it's going to be. Look, we got to cover a couple more things before we get out of here. We're going to do
real quick.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You go first. What are you going to say?
Well, we have to give our favorite plays of the position and any bets, and then I also want to go game by game and pick a winner.
I was going to say that. Let's go game by game, pick a winner. Let's do that first. I'm going to put a parlay in, I think, with every single game. So let's settle Chargers, Texans, who wins. Let's just do money lines.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do money lines. Who's going to win the game? If we're going to parlay all these games, I don't think we have to play with the spread. Nothing's outside of the Ravens and the Bills. Everything else is going to be – let's under – I don't know. If you want to do with the spread, I'm also down to do it too. But
let's do the spread. Let's do the spread.
All right, do the spread. All right. I'm going to write it down next. I'm not going to be able to remember all this. So who is it? Chargers, Texans.
I'll take Texans plus 3.
You take the Texans plus 3. You think they win this game outright?
I don't know. I think it's close.
I'm going to go Chargers minus 3, and I need a pen that actually works. Chargers. So I'm on the Chargers side, minus 3, and you're on the Texans plus. Okay. Mm-hmm. And next game, Steelers, Ravens, 9.5. I'm seeing on DK right now.
Yeah, Steelers plus 9.5. Playoff game versus Ravens and the Steelers.
I'm gonna go against you just for fun. I'm gonna go Ravens. I hate the Steelers.
9.5.
I think you're right, though. I do think you're right, but I don't know. My gut's saying stick with the Ravens.
Okay.
Broncos, Bills, 8.5. I was listening to series on the way home, and I don't listen to too much series outside of our own show. I don't know if it's a real fact or not, and they were just joking around about it. But like Jeff Mans was saying some shit that like someone actually like drew up. I could be totally lying. He was saying it's probably a lie, but they pulled up a stat that Sean Payton since like 2013 is like 30-10 versus like bald head coaches, which was kind of funny. Like somebody actually ran the stats on bald head coaches. And even Mans, which I don't find too funny too often, he was saying some shit like, well, what about prior? Like he was in the league for like 10 years prior. So he didn't like, was he bad against bald head coaches prior to it? But I digress. 8.5 Buffalo Bills.
I like Mans. I like his show. You're taking Broncos or Bills?
No, I'm asking you first.
I don't know, man. This one's tougher. Like, I'll probably go Broncos plus 8.5 here too. Playoff games, they should be closer. Like Broncos, good D. They're used to cold weather, whatever. They live in Denver.
I'll agree with you on this one. I'll agree with you. We'll both go Broncos. As long as Bo doesn't turn over the ball, I think they hold that 8.5. Their defense is good. Cold game, tighter game. Eagles, Packers. I'll go first here. I think the Eagles hold off 5.5. Packers a little bit banged up. But what's your thoughts?
I would probably lean the Eagles, but like if I'm just a student of the Eagles game, like this season, they really. It's not like they're maybe
they're healthy now. I would say they're healthier now. This defense got better, but you make your own pick. 5.5.
I mean, I was just gonna say they weren't really blowing the doors off teams, but it kind of just depends on the week. They'd be a letdown sometimes. I'll probably go Eagles minus 5.5 reluctantly.
All right, so we're both with Eagles. Commanders, Bucks. Commanders getting 3.
Bucks. Oh well, no, I've got Tampa minus 3. Tampa minus 3.
I got Commanders plus 3 there.
I'll probably agree with that. Commanders plus 3. I was looking at it backwards.
Which way do you want? You want Commanders or want the Bucks?
No, plus 3 Commanders.
All right, so we're going to be on the same side. This game, I have no clue. I don't know what to make of both these teams. Vikings minus 3 on the road against the Rams. McVay versus O'Connell. Stafford versus Darnold. Is Darnold playing for a job right now, which is kind of crazy to say at what he did this year? He probably is playing for his job. Which is nuts. I don't think they re-sign him. They're going to go with either Daniel Jones or JJ, but what do you think in this game?
I'll take the Vikings minus 2.5.
Okay, I agree. Whatever it is, 2.5, 3. DK has a 3. It doesn't make a difference to you, right?
Yeah, sure. Doesn't matter.
All right. So next up, props. I'll give you the couple props I bet early in the week. These lines are no longer available. The lines have definitely shot up. I went ahead and bet every single Commanders. Still say Redskins. Commanders favorite targets of mine. So I got McLaurin at 58 earlier in the week. It's at like 60 to 65, depending on where you're seeing it today. I do got Zach Ertz. Got it at 37. I think it's up to like 40-ish, depending on the book again. And then I got Zacchaeus. Got it at 35.5. That's sitting around 40 as well. I kind of still think I'm expecting them not to be tight. I don't bet stuff that I think, I'm fighting for a yard or two here. I obviously like it better where I got it at, but I think they're all pretty safe to bet. Also, I put a Zacchaeus ladder out there. Am I in love with the Zacchaeus ladder as much as I was in love with Ricky the last 2 weeks? No. As much as I loved other plays throughout the year, playoff lines are tighter. So, no, I'm not in love with it as much as I was in love with bets prior. But I do think it posts the best numbers value-wise. When I'm looking at the numbers, I got 70 at plus 390, 80 at plus 600, 90 at plus 880 if they're playing from behind. And, they try to maybe bracket Terry a little bit more. Decay is getting a ton of targets. I can see him get there, and he's getting some down-the-field targets too. So 70, 80, 90. What I like to do sometimes, like I don't advise other people to do it, but like what I do is like I want to win a G off my ladder, like minimum. So I kind of play around with the numbers. So like I try to like get like I think it's like 250 the way I played that 70, 80, 90 to come back and win like 1,200. So I profit $1,000 on it, and it's always nice to win like a G off like instead of doing like a 5-team parlay for like $100. I'd rather do like a ladder for like 150 to 200 to still win that G. So that was the best number out there. Obviously, other people will shoot over and hit ladders, but I think Zacchaeus best dollar for dollar value. And I threw a kind of dumb one, but not dumb one out there. FanDuel dropped Henry's receiving prop down to 4.5. Which to me says like one catch. His receptions are over 1.5 plus money. So I got Henry over 4.5 receiving yards. I do think he catches it. He's been catching. If this game is close, he definitely goes there. But he's gotten 2 catches in the last 3 games. 4 of the last 5. He's got a catch outside of the game versus the Giants, which is not really a football game because it was a blowout. All other tight games, he's just getting a dump off. And Lamar's like kind of like wiggling around, and he just dumps it to Henry, and Henry like stiff arms somebody, gets like 10, 15 yards every time he catches the ball. So I got that over 4.5 receiving yards. You'll laugh at it now.
No,
you'll
laugh
at it. You'll laugh at it later on when he wiggles around. He tosses that ball to Henry in the game.
No, I'm not laughing. I'm laughing at the way you said it. It was just funny. It amuses me.
It's all good.
No, I'm not.
Got any bets, bro? You're 0-1 on the Win Daily Sports betting picks page. So
I'm not a betting guy.
But you're not a betting guy. You're not a betting guy, but nobody knows this outside of probably me. You're not a betting guy, but like you get more tilted by betting pick sixes than like almost winning like showdowns and everything else. Like you're betting every single night in Atlanta because you can't bet. So you're definitely like on bets, but you can't bet.
Yeah, that's true. I don't live in a legal state.
Stuff.
I don't live in a legal state, so like I end up just playing on like Prize Picks, and I don't play on Pick Six anymore. That's a garbage dump. They destroyed that. Jesus Christ! Just pour some gasoline on. I mean, that was the worst. That was the worst.
I never got to play because I can't play that in New York. You can play that. I'm not allowed to play that because some stupid rules, whatever. But you loved it for a minute, and then they did whatever they did. I don't even know what the hell they did, but you're not happy.
They just ruined it. They did a lot of stuff. Yeah, so I don't put bet like I put in one that time. I felt good about it, and then lost. I'm 0-1 on Win Daily.
Let's go back. Let's go back to even, bro.
just like talking on this show, like been pretty good on this show, and XM over 500, I would say. I think I hit them both last week.
What's the bet, bro? Give me a bet. Come on, put you on the spot.
I just found it. I just found it while we were talking.
What is it?
It's Van Jefferson over 9.5 yards.
Okay, I'll bet that with you. He's on the field, dude. Like, he's definitely on the field, and George Pickens has trouble catching. So, like, I like it. I'll put it up. Let's do it.
Van Jeff. Yeah, I can put it up if you want. I can get back to
500. Put it up. Okay. Yeah, put it up. You bet 2 units on it too, so like you'll go over the positive. Yeah, you do 2 units on it.
See, I don't know.
Let me see. Van Jefferson.
I like Shakir over 54 too.
Yeah, Van Jefferson. Like, if you like him for real,
I do.
Let me just see something here while we're spitting on the fly.
Oh, you're about to ladder Van Jefferson, aren't you?
No. I think what I was going to do first, Van Jefferson reception prop is sitting at 1.5.
That's about right.
And you're getting as high as plus 180 on Caesars. So I think if you like his receiving yards, you gotta like him catching at least 2 balls. So maybe.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I mean, his receiving yards are 9.5. Like, you do that on 1, you know.
I think the plus 180, 1.5 is also interesting. Like, on Caesars, like,
sure.
If they're a dog, a pretty big dog, Calvin Austin, like, Jefferson got 4 targets, and he's on the field a lot too. Like, he's on the field a lot of these blocking downs, like these running downs. But I don't know. I think if you like it for 10 or 9, I think you got to like it for 2 catches over plus 180. I might do that.
Okay.
You might have talked me into it. All right, man.
We got to do this real quick. We got to go through quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Just
entire slate.
Yeah, just give me like one guy. We'll do it quick.
Okay, go for it.
Who's your quarterback?
Jaden.
All right. So I'm not saying Daniels too. I'll take Justin Herbert. Running back, any price, don't care.
I'll give you 2. I'll give you Bucky is my favorite price per dollar, and then I would love to pair him with. I'm back and forth, Saquon or Henry, but Bucky's my number 1.
Okay, I've got Barkley ranked above Henry, which is tough. I mean, he's been the best running back this year. He's got the best on paper matchup of the week. It's just tough.
Yeah.
I'll give you Barkley, I guess. And then as a GPP guy that we didn't spend too much time on, I'll give you Austin Eckler.
Interesting.
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver, like, with this slate, there's so many good ones, to be honest with you. To make it a little bit different, like, I'll do this real quick. On Saturday only, my favorite is Ladd. On Sunday only, my favorite is Terry. And then if you want to throw in, like, every single play, or my favorite, I'll give you, like, my favorite value is probably Zacchaeus. Like, I don't know. I like Jaden. I like this matchup. So, like, that's where it's at with that.
Okay. I'll give you 2 different guys. I'll give you Khalil Shakir and Jalen McMillan.
Nice. I like McMillan a lot too. They're both that mid-range is where you probably want to live. Tight ends. For me, it's Ertz and one of the Baltimore guys, whether it's Likely or Mark Andrews, either one.
I'm just realizing I spelled Mark Andrews' name wrong in my article. I wrote Mark Anders. I'll give you TJ Hawkinson.
Okay. That's it, I guess. Defense,
that's it.
Just roll everything up. Yeah, I got to get out of here. You got to get out of here. We got to build some lineups. We'll be in Discord all day. More props if I'm feeling anything, whether it's live or, prior to these games. I'll go ahead and put some more bets up. Don't force stuff. Pick your favorite slate, is my opinion, Saturday, Sunday, or, running some showdowns, stuff like that. Enjoy playoff football, and let's win some money, man.
All right. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.